Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in for another action-packed show, as in this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the topic of the death of the old self. Also in this week's episode, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, bringing forward their inspiration and wisdoms. And also in this episode, we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. So without further ado, we're going to tackle today's subject matter, which is the death of the old self. There'll be a lot of head scratching with this title, I know, so let me explain what we're talking about. I'm talking about shedding skin, and I love that analogy, the fact that we expand and grow to such a level like the reptile world does, that they can no longer exist in that old skin anymore. And that's what we're talking about with ourselves there as individuals. So we're talking about shedding the old part of ourselves, the part that we've outgrown, we've outshone, and we've moved beyond those limitations of that old version of self there. And in order to move into this new phase, obviously we have to let go of the old version of ourselves, the old part of us that's not serving our timeline, our path. It's not serving the people around us to the degree it once did. And so we evolve, we learn, we evolve, and we shed this old skin. One of the processes in my personal experience that leads to this point of your evolution is all of a sudden you'll become aware, you'll have these eureka moments where you'll become aware of actually what you've learnt from either peers, parents, teachers, school, work, society. A lot of it's not making sense anymore, and you're scratching your head and thinking, well, why did I always think those thoughts about those subject matters when that can't possibly be true? That can't possibly be accurate information. Surely that information that's been shared with me is information that's been passed down from generation to generation. The code of ethics within society has been passed down from society to society. You get the picture. But nobody's actually questioned it. People have just assumed that, okay, they've done it all this time, so it must be right. It must be true. So what I'm talking about here is you start to see cracks in the system, cracks in the jigsaw puzzle, so to speak, and it's not making sense and tallying up anymore. And this is because your vibration has changed and it reads energy and information differently. It assesses it, it understands it, it sees the connections between one piece of information to another piece of information, when perhaps at one time there was a level, as I say, of acceptance where you took the information to be gospel truth, when in actual fact, because you've evolved, you've noticed these cracks, as I say, in the jigsaw pieces. So you will go through a period of your life actually scratching your head and wondering, well, why did I always believe that? You know, why am I doing this? Why am I living in this way? This is not my truth. This is somebody else's truth that has been passed down over to me. And it's been led for me to believe that this is the way that things are done. And you start to question life a lot. And with this evolution, you'll question every facet of your life, you know, your day-to-day living, the people you hang around with. And it can be quite a confusing part of your life when you're going through this phase. But I would certainly say, I would term this phase of your life when you're going through all of this is a period of grief. And you'll be allowing yourself to go through that grief. As you can appreciate when you're going through these things, everything that you've believed up until this point when you've had this eureka moment in your life has been the gospel truth. So to learn and to see it differently, it can import that vibration of grief on you, and you're like, well, why is this happening to me? Why is that meant to be true when it's not true? And you'll have all of these questions. And I would say, like I just mentioned, that this is a period of grief where you're going through this trauma, you're unraveling it, and you're allowing it to be. And when you allow it to be and just observe all of these things unraveling around you, obviously you're questioning them in your mind, but there's a level of acceptance there. When you're doing that, you're allowing that old belief system, that old part of you that has got you to where you are in your life, you're allowing it to go by essentially just allowing it to be and going through the situation. It's only when we ignore all of these changes and developments within ourselves and we push it to one side and we're not prepared to actually observe it and go through it, then that's when life can get very difficult for you. More difficult than the grief period that I'm explaining to you. Because I would certainly say that if you don't allow yourself to observe and go through this situation, life potentially can be a little bit of a struggle for you. And eventually you'll reach another crossroads in your life where you will have to actually confront this situation again. So why suffer? Why allow yourself to go through this trauma again when you can just observe it and go through it now as it is happening, when it is your time to go through this? So it's a period of letting go of the old versions of you, the old belief systems, the mannerisms, the old you may even feel inspired to change your image slightly as well. Through this period of time, you'll be very confused. So just allow yourself to go through it. That's what I would recommend. And why this is happening is it's simply because all of these things, letting go of the old, in order to make room and make space for new to enter your life on every single level. Your vibration changes. And when I'm mentioning the word vibration, I'm talking about your frequency, your energy. We're all frequency. We're all different frequencies emitting a different frequency. And we're all sending out those vibrations out to the universe. And so your frequency will start to change. And with it changing, what we'll experience is you'll notice lots of things developing in your life that weren't there before, that you wasn't aware of. I would certainly recommend at this point, when you're aware that your frequency is changing, after the grief period that I've just described to you, that you have gone through, then it can be quite intimidating, quite frightening and triggering on many levels in your life there. But I'd like to encourage you all to be brave, even though you don't know the answers, even though you don't know the end result. You just know that you're going through these changes and they're very uncomfortable. Be brave. Allow yourself to go with the flow and go with them. Take one step at a time. Each single day is another run on the ladder of success. Success moving you into your new vibration, the vibration that you are always destined to reach at some point. When you reached, I would say, a pivotal point of your evolution on your timeline. So be brave to take one step at a time and allow yourself to flourish into these new dimensions that you are experiencing. You will notice that because of your vibration is changing, there's going to be a lot of things that will start to change in your life. Obviously, the company you keep, your friendship circles, will change, and that's not to say that there will be a falling out or a disagreement or, any trouble in that respect. No, it works out that you generally find your own path, and then the people that you were associated with go their own way and find their own path. And it's nothing personal. It's just an energetic response there. And you'll also notice that some of your likes will change. And I'm talking about, maybe food and drink. That may change within you. And perhaps you like certain foods for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, it's not aligning with you anymore, and you've lost interest. You're not giving it your time and attention like you once did. And I would certainly recommend and suggest that this is obviously because your frequency has changed and developed to the point where the frequencies within those foods, within those people, aren't matching up to yours anymore. So I would say your vibration, your frequency is there. Transmitting a vibration out into the ether, broadcasting this signal for your new tribe to enter your life that do match your vibration. And this happens to all of us in all walks of life. Even though we're not really sure why this is happening, we just know that, I don't hang about with those anymore. I've got some new friends. And you just take it for that. You don't see the mechanics behind it all, like what I'm suggesting to you today. Like I say, your likes and dislikes will change. And so maybe you may even find that you'll be contradicting yourself. For years, you may have said, I'm never going to be doing that. I don't like that. I don't like this. And then all of a sudden you find yourself, like I say, contradicting yourself and doing the very thing that you said you'd never do. This is because your vibration has changed and you're more open to experience, to evolution, because those things that you put off from doing, maybe it wasn't right. They weren't right for you on that previous timeline, in that previous incarnation. Yet with this evolving frequency that you've developed, things are starting to match up and line up to the point where you're more open and acceptance to having expansive experiences. It's a very interesting time, and it can, as I say, bring lots of confusion into your life, because it can happen very quickly. It can happen very incrementally. There's no right or wrong way it's going to develop for you on a personal level, but all I'm asking for you to all do is just to observe, just notice, question, rather than accepting things. Just have that level, that inquiring mind, have that sense of adventure, and just allow yourself to go through this process. Because when you're in that sort of stage of, open, you're not restricted or invested in any one state of being, then this is where you tend to flow a lot easier, and life becomes a lot easier for you as you go into this vibration there. But what I was saying as well, you'll start to develop new friendships when you move into a new frequency, new vibration. And generally speaking, these friends will be magnetized to you. You don't necessarily have to do anything other than just go with the flow. And you'll find that new people enter your life that have similar values to yourself, similar experiences to yourself. And this in itself is a blessing in disguise, because we feel calm, we feel relaxed, we feel heard and appreciated communicating with these new friendship circles that are entering our lives. It's almost like a virtual support network, isn't it, that suddenly appears out of nowhere. And this could be people that you've never even met before in your life, or it could be potentially somebody you've worked with, a colleague you've worked with for years, and you've ignored them and you haven't had anything to do with them. And then all of a sudden, you go through these changes, your frequency changes, and then you start chatting to them. And the next minute, you realize that you have lots in common. And you go to maybe the same gym, or you do this, that, and the other the same, and you never even noticed before. That's because you was in a different vibration. Now you've moved, everything has to change and match up to your vibration. Like we said earlier, with the foods and the drink that you consume, you may have, for example, you may have enjoyed alcohol and liked to tipple a little drinky poos every now and again at the weekend. And then because your vibration has changed, maybe your physical body rejects this alcohol. Your soul doesn't align with the vibration within alcohol, those energies within that. It doesn't sit right with you. And so your soul and your physical body rejects it. And in many respects, that's what happened to me. I stopped drinking many years ago now. And that was down to the fact that, I used to like the flavor, of real ales and things like that. But I was finding that I didn't like the experience of alcohol, the feeling dizzy, the feeling sick. And then over a period of time, that grew and grew and grew to the point where I would just, drink a pint of beer, taking it slow because I was appreciating the flavor in these crafted ales. And then my body simply wouldn't hold the vibration of that within the physical vessel anymore. And so I was either being sick or rushing to the toilet as my body was rejecting it. And so in the end, I got the hint, I got the vibe, and I said, okay, why am I doing this to myself? It's obviously not agreeing with me on an energetic and physical level. So for me personally, I cut alcohol out of my life. And to be honest, I don't miss it. I never needed it, really. It was just like a social conditioning thing that many of us go through. And I'm not dissing people who drink alcohol or enjoy the experience of going out, because it does have its plus points. It has a very wonderful experience where you can have a more expanded social life, meeting people at bars and things like that. But for me, it just reached a point that I couldn't tolerate it anymore. The vibration that I was holding wouldn't allow me to stay in that vibration. So there was a period of grief, obviously, because meeting up with friends and things like that and not being able to do that anymore. Well, I can do it, but a lot of people, and I'm not judging by saying this, they don't tend to enjoy people that aren't drinking anymore. They see them as boring, or they've got nothing to bring to the party, so to speak, which is fine. And again, this is part of, I would say, social conditioning on some levels. So there's an element of you that I went through of releasing and going through that grief period, releasing that old belief system that I personally needed alcohol to have that experience. And in doing so, I moved into new timelines there, meeting new people, likened minds and souls there, and just realizing that, you can have fun without any of those substances or anything like that. You can have a laugh. You can get the energy. You can move beyond your own limitations in terms of feeling embarrassed. A lot of people use alcohol as a crutch, so to speak, to make them come out of their shell a little bit more. Well, you don't generally need that. You just need to flip the switch in your mind, in your vibration, and say, well, I'm not holding myself back anymore. If I want to sing in front of a crowd, I'm going to do it, regardless of what. If I want to dance, I'm going to do that. Anyway, I'm rambling slightly, aren't I? But you get the point that I'm trying to make to you today. You'll notice lots of changes. Also, TV shows as well. There's a lot of interactive TV shows, isn't it? What do they call them? I forget the collective name, but these reality shows, that's the term I was after, reality shows, and they have been quite popular for a few decades now, haven't they? And you'll find yourself not aligning with anything like that anymore, because you'll feel the energy behind it. It reminds me of that Pied Piper type behavior, where somebody is playing a tune, somebody is dangling a carrot, or, distraction, and they're gathering all the masses to follow them. And to me, I know that sounds a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but to me, that is what's happening with a lot of these reality shows. And people are lapping it up and they're just following this narrative. But in the meantime, the energy is actually keeping those people on a lower base frequency. It's keeping them hypnotized from going through this realization that we're talking about today. And it's keeping them set in a certain vibrational state where they're unable to maybe expand their consciousness and awareness and their vibration, because they're kept in this hypnotic state where they're unaware that there's actually options around them. There's choices that they can make to expand and grow and actually see the reality of what's really going on. We're going pretty deep in this conversation, aren't we? But you understand where I'm going with this. So it does have a knock-on effect in every aspect of your life, and this can be quite traumatic because it happens differently for each and every one of us, but it can have a domino effect where just as you've got your head around a certain portion of your life that you've had to release and let go, and you've gone through that grief period and you're thinking, oh, thank goodness for that. Right, let's start life again. All of a sudden, there's another element or facet within your life that comes knocking at your door for you to work on and move through and grieve and then let go. So it is a continual process. And I want to say, just because you've done it once in your life, maybe a major part in your life, and you've had to go through this phase, I would say it doesn't always end there. It doesn't always just end at doing it once. We're all evolving. We're all growing. We're all expanding. And we all move into different areas of our timeline within our life that requires a different frequency, a different version of ourselves in order to thrive in that frequency, in that particular timeline. So there will be phases throughout the course of your life where, again, you move up. I love the analogy, like a computer game. You move up a level. And in order to move up a level, you have to pass all of the tasks. You have to collect keys, so to speak. Keys unlock doors, don't they? When you unlock a door, you open it and you walk through it. So I love that analogy to relate to what we're talking about today. So where was we? We was talking about, so you will notice that this will occur throughout the course of your life where you're moving in different directions and you reach, I would say, the end of the line, so to speak, of a certain timeline. And you'll kind of feel it when you're coming to the end of the chapter of your life, because no matter how hard you try or force things to happen or negotiate your way through certain situations, it keeps coming back to you. And it keeps coming back to you, and you don't seem to be getting anywhere fast. Feels like you're treading water almost. I would say that this is a bit of an indication that you're going through a growth spurt on a vibrational level, and you haven't got to resist these changes. Just trust your intuition, trust your gut instinct, and allow yourself to flourish and flow through these changes. There's no set right or wrong reason or answer or guidance for each and every individual one of us. It's something we've all got to navigate our way through and find our own way. And this is how we ascend on our timeline. But going through all this, when you have plateaued, if that's the right phrase, and you've gone through the grief and you have that period of acceptance where you are in your new timeline, then there will be, I would say, a lot of maintenance that you still have to do in order to retain that vibration and to stay in that timeline instead of going back and devolving into the old version of yourself again. And this involves you obviously observing your lifestyle. We mentioned about the food and drink you consume, the people that you associate with, and also observing your mental, your emotional, and your physical health. Now, mental health, that is a subject within itself, isn't it? And we could talk for quite some length just on that topic alone. But mental health, I would certainly suggest that it's all about observing the way that the mind is picking up on information. And it's about questioning that information. Is it true? Is this true? Do I believe that? Do I feel that in my presence? in my present moment reality? Do I feel that truth in my physical body, or do I feel a level of resistance? So it's continually questioning each part of information that you are observing within the mind that helps you to stay healthy, I want to say mentally, and also having periods of time of inactivity in the mind where you go out for maybe walks in nature. You maybe watch something that brings you joy in your heart on the TV and just allows your mind to simmer and to quieten down with no activity whatsoever, where you're not planning ahead, where you're just resting and you're just being present. I would say that your mental health will benefit from doing things of that nature. In terms of emotional health, a lot of us stuff our emotions down, don't we? When we feel something, there's a part of us that thinks, well, I can't explore that any further. I can't express those emotions any further, for maybe fear of what other people may think, say, or do with us behaving or expressing those emotions, front and center out in public. Well, I want to say that it's removing those fears and doing it anyway, and expressing yourself emotionally, taking that responsibility whilst you're doing it as well. And also, it's going to free you from that emotional prison that most of us have been captured in for most of our lives, where we feel that we can't express ourselves for the fear of being judged. When you move beyond that, it's so liberating, it's so freeing, and you just feel so confident after doing it. So it's observing these things and noticing that if you're holding back your emotions, you need to start and express them. In terms of your physical body, I would certainly recommend that you obviously have regular exercise, and this can come in many forms, whatever your preference is. You could go to the gym, it could just be walks around the block, out in nature, it could be swimming, it could be yoga, it could be Pilates, whatever form it comes into. You will have to do some sort of physical exercise in order to maintain your vibration on your new timeline, that you're experiencing there. So do watch out for all these elements changing. And once you get into the habit of maintaining your vibration, I would say it's as easy as cleaning your teeth in the morning there. It becomes second nature to you. And you just take it for granted. It's just something that you do. And you don't even realize you're doing it half of the time. But you are aware that you do have to pay attention to these areas in your life, maybe more so than you did previously in your old version of self. I've got to say as well, when you reach this vibration in your life, that you'll start to perceive life differently, and you'll start to choose love and peace over disharmony, fear, and things of that nature. You'll find yourself moving out of anything that causes you to your vibration to be drained, to be manipulated, or to maybe just taken out of your bubble, so to speak. And you'll find yourself maybe spending more time on your own because you find that very peaceful, very relaxing. And then when you do go and meet people and get out and about there, it makes that little bit more special than perhaps before in your previous timeline where you took it for granted. Now it's more special when you make those connections, and conversations with people hold more sort of, I want to say, resonance with you than perhaps they did. But you'll notice yourself that even in those conversations, if the conversation turns or it becomes very negative, you'll either try and navigate that conversation back into a love and a peaceful resolution or a high vibrational outcome. And if it doesn't reach that, despite your efforts, then you will make your excuses and leave that vibration, leave that environment in order to retain your peace and serenity. There's a lot of you that will be doing all of these things that I'm mentioning to you today already, and you've been aware that you've been doing this for years and years and years. But the point of this conversation today is just to bring it to everybody's attention, because sometimes we don't fully appreciate the mechanics. what's happening behind the scenes when we go through these very prominent changes within our life. And there's a lot of people that use the phrase, oh, get over it, get over it. That's not helpful at all, is it? You've got to go through it, not get over it. Get over it is like, it's avoiding going through this beautiful transition that we're talking about today. Whatever the circumstances happen to be in your life, go through it. And you'll find that this part of evolution that you'll experience will continue to flourish throughout the course of your life. But you'll also have a strong resilience to change when it does come into your life. In other words, you will have a greater respect and understanding for the process, and you'll allow yourself to go through it better. But you'll notice that your life will begin to have more of a flow about it, and you'll be okay about that. You'll be okay. You'll have a feeling that everything's going to work out. Everything's going to move in a positive direction, and you'll start to see the bigger picture. Maybe not necessarily with your physical eyes, but you'll start to get a feeling, a magnetic calling, a feeling that although it appears to be this way, I've got a feeling that everything's going to work out all right. The right people will come in, the right opportunities will happen, the finances will be here, and the work and the people and the romantic life situation, everything's going to work out beautifully. You'll just have more of a positive understanding about life, and you'll go with the flow, as I say. So anyway, I hope this conversation has certainly given you something to consider and think about, particularly when you are noticing that you're going through these very strong changes in the areas of your life there. Just allow yourself to go through them rather than avoiding them, and show that level of love and respect for yourself as you go through this transitional phase. We're now going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their wisdom and communications through. But just slightly ahead of doing that, I just want to check in with you all. How has your week been? Have you noticed any changes occurring in your life due to the vibrational changes in not only yourself, but also the universe and the atmosphere? I know, speaking personally, I certainly have noticed some changes. One of them being is the weather is changing a little bit in the UK, and it's getting slightly warmer. We're not busting out the swimming trunks yet, or the shorts or the sun cream, but it's getting slightly warmer. And so it's seen me actually do the first adventure of 2025. And I say adventure, it's an adventure to me, where this is where I go for a drive in the van and I have an overnight sleep out because it's a little bit warm enough now to do that. And for me, this is the absolute tonic that I need in order to ground my energy, to be present, just to get that relaxation and reset the vibrations, so to speak, because I'm sure you'll all be aware of the work that I do working with spirit and, the multimedia work. It can get very demanding. So for me, this has been a very welcomed new experience of 2025. So I've recently had that, and I'm now starting to plan the rest of the adventures of the year. Also, I've noticed that with my sleep, again, there's still issues there. Nothing medically, you must understand this, as on a vibrational level, where my sleep patterns, I'm finding I'm doing a lot more astral traveling. And in the morning, I'm finding it hard to actually move my physical body, down to the fact that it's taking longer for my soul, my essence, to blend back in the physical body. So definitely more grounding is needed for myself there. And I'm so pleased, like I say, that I'm going on these adventures, again, out in nature. The recent one I've just been on, the first one of 2025, was in Bakewell in Derbyshire. And I feel as though I needed that. I had the greatest night's sleep ever there. Also, I felt recharged, back in body again, and I felt balanced. And so I feel as though I do need more of this. And maybe those of you that are listening that are experiencing something of a similar nature, I would certainly recommend that you do something similar. Get out in nature, be aware of all of your senses in the physical body. even purchase or obtain a grounding stone and keep that on your person, so that when you are feeling a little bit dreamy, a little bit light and a bit out of there, just by holding that grounding stone, the purpose of the grounding stone is to bring you back into body so that you can have a multi-layered experience of your incarnation. So I've been witnessing all of these changes. Also, I've noticed that the universe is beginning to bring back its bounty for me. And what I mean by this is, like, things are coming into alignment. There's a sense of luck, a sense of prosperity that is beginning to enter my life. And I'm so tremendously thankful and grateful for this coming in, because yeah, as you know, being self-employed, those of you out there that are so self-employed, sometimes, your finances can be up and down, and you're really living life on the edge of your fingernail, so to speak, on some occasions anyway. So I'm pleased to announce that, the scales of abundance are tipping in my direction. And I'm very, like I say, grateful and thankful for this occurring there. Couldn't have come at a better time for me personally. But also I've noticed, opportunities coming into my vista there. Also old energies that are no longer serving on my timeline are making their way out. And this can be quite sorrowful, quite a sad occasion. But, with the knowledge and the wisdom that we experience, we know from the heart that these things happen for a reason, and we just need to go with the flow and trust. So that's what's been happening with myself. How have you been? What's been happening in your world? I'd love to know. Anyway, like I say, we're going to move on to the next segment of this show, which is this week's Channeling from Spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for Spirit to bring their wisdom and communications through. So sit back, relax, take some notes if you wish, and enjoy this week's channeling.
Hello, my name is Jonathan, and I have come forward today to let you know about a few truths that a lot of you are closing your eyes to at this moment. A lot of you are bamboozled and excited by all of the drama in the world, and yet you are not really seeing the true picture. What we're asking you to do on this occasion is to feel into a situation, regardless of whether it is relevant to you or not. If it is in your vista and it has caught your attention, it is worth questioning it from this perspective. Feel into the energy and vibration of that situation, and if it rings true, it will resonate with you, and there will be no way of questioning that information any further, because it is helping you to understand the truth of the information that's being given to you. However, if you're not aligning with it, it's causing you discord and uncomfortability and agitation, then obviously the energy and the information that's being shared with you is in fact the complete opposite, and it is a lie, an untruth. Therefore, do not proceed further by giving it your time and attention. More so now than ever, there's a lot happening in your earth where your senses are being manipulated for the greater gains of those that are in control of your planet. Fear being the ultimate commodity in your planet at the moment, because it's easier to manipulate and create and cause panic and pandemonium, giving opportunity for those that rise in power to bring forward solutions that will put you in a place of ease and calmness, when in fact what they're doing is they're manipulating a situation in order to bring forward control over the population. We ask you at this pivotal change and time in your Earth's history to follow your innate wisdom, your feelings, as that will navigate you forward. We want you also to have some backbone and be and be resilient and stable in your decision-making processes. Do not be swayed by information that is less than the truth, because ultimately that will have an energetic cord of attachment and control on you, and we certainly do not want that for you. So that's why we have brought this information forward for you. We understand that for a lot of you this will be simple common sense, yet for some of you listening this will be a revelation, and yet it will be frustrating to you hearing these words, forcing you to go within rather than seeking your answers externally. It can be traumatic at times because you will come across various points of your healing and your personal growth that is stopping you from expanding to the ultimate heights that you desire, that you are wanting other people to bring forward for you, yet you have had the power all along. It's a case of doing the inner work and the healing and discerning from the truth from lies. If anything we could tell you for this year is there's going to be a vast amount of change in your society. A shift, a split, if you will. Those that see the truth and those that are still cast under the spell of the illusions that are presented to them. It's a tough call to have to describe to you, but putting it in simple terms like this will help you to decide and feel your way forward. There's going to be lots of improvements in society's beliefs and the way that society works as a whole in general. But to get to that level, we have to bring these uncomfortable truths and information to the surface so that you can see what's really going on. A lot of you will decide that you're not going to push your energy or promote things that are not in alignment with the truth of who you are. We ask that during this period of time that rest, reflection, and also if you can start to get into the habit of slowing things down by getting into meditation, as that will help to give you clarity in these very trying and testing times. What we also wish to communicate to you is that those that are purest of heart and have purest intentions will find themselves moving out of the vibration of fear, the vibration of lack and worry, and instead you'll be changing into the vibration of prosperity and divine flow. And what this looks for you is that what you're focusing your time and attention on will be manifested into your present moment reality. So if you need something to help you on your timeline, do not give your attention and power to things or doubts or fears in your mind about not being able to get those things that you require. Also that you're not worthy, you're trying to work out where the money, where the things that you require are going to come from. We ask you to flip that way of thinking and only focus in upon the positive aspects of your timeline. And everything that you need will come into your vista when you need it. You need not ask any questions, only to trust, have faith, and follow your divine calling. Be aware of ascension symptoms, as these can be a little bit debilitating at times. Headaches, feeling dizziness, also feeling vast amounts of tiredness, where this is where the healing and the shift takes place. We hope that this information has found you well and has given you something to consider when you're living your day-to-day life. We want you to see the truth. We want you to be open for the beautiful bounty that is yours and yours only. However, those of you that are listening to this are pure of mind, pure of heart, pure of soul. And so what is yours, you will share with others, and you will encourage them to work in a similar manner to yourself, thus giving them their power back. It never left them, they were just distracted from using it. So for now, thank you for listening. I have been Jonathan, and I endeavor to come forward many, many, many times in the future to continue with this bout of information and growth that is going to help you heal and thrive on your highest timeline. I send you my love and blessings. Goodbye for now.
Another wonderful communication there from the world of spirit. And I'm sure we can all put our hands on hearts and say we really needed to hear that, because it's nice to know that the truth vibrations are coming up to the surface so that we can all witness them, whether we choose to do that or not. Also, that we need to feel into situations rather than hearing the information that's been thrown our general direction. We need to feel into it to connect in whether it's a truth or whether it is a lie there, in order to get the purest essence of the information. And in doing so, we'll gain wisdom and insights as well. Our senses are being manipulated by those that are in leadership or in control, and they're doing this through using the tool or the vibration of fear to generate more fear so that they can create either a solution to the fear that they've created within society. So do watch out for more of that playing out there. Also nice to hear from Spirit that we, in order to do our very best and live our best vibration, we need to be resilient, and we need to be stubborn with our decision-making processes. So even if we stand in the minority of one and we feel it in our core being, our soul, our heart there, that what we're assigning our energy and our attention to is the truth, then we need to honor that, and we need to move with that vibration. Like I say, even if we stand in the minority of one. So going within for our wisdom and our answers is going to be the way forward in order to create the societies that we all crave to live in. Moving beyond our own limited beliefs, maybe subconscious programming that we've adopted over the years there. And rather than being afraid of moving into new territory, again, trusting that inner wisdom, that energy from within that's going to catapult you forward. Change in society is here now, as I'm sure you'll all agree. We're all starting to see the cracks appear. And obviously, this is a positive thing, I feel, because the old needs to be removed in order for the new to grow and flourish. So that's what we're witnessing. And it is a choice that we have to make in order to flow there. But watch out for the ascension symptoms as well that you may be feeling. Maybe feeling lethargic, drained, tired, dizziness, unable to get up in the morning because of it as well. So that was an interesting communication from Spirit. I'm sure you will agree. But now we're going to move on to the next segment of the show, which is this week's forecast reading. So hopefully this will help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's reading. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for Monday the 3rd of March 2025. Now, those of you that watch me work will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also consult the wisdom of the Angel Tarot card. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's forecast reading. So this is your card. I'm now going to link into the feeling and vibration of it. First of all, I feel as though this week is going to be a substantial change in your day-to-day life. I feel as though there's going to be more energy that's going to be offered to you from the universe. And what I mean by this You're going to get more done. You're going to have more strength. You're going to have more vision. Whereas it's almost as if you've woke up from your slumber, so to speak. You're just going to be having more energy so that you can make more plans and more get up and go. And this will be vitalizing for you, because what you will find is it will be very infectious to those people that are in your life. They'll see you doing it, and obviously they'll think, well, if they're doing it, I'm going to do it as well. And so it's a very positive energy that I'm feeling around you all. However, you do need to take time out for you. Don't run before you can walk, and make sure you're getting ample amounts of rest. You will notice various mornings when you wake up in the week that you'll feel lethargic, drained all of a sudden, not being able to move physically. Just go with it. Don't resist these changes, because your energy reserves are being stored within you, and also the heightened vibrations are going to be helping you to move fluently throughout the course of your week. Also within this week, please watch out for your diet changing. And there's going to be various foods that are going to cause complications with the lower part of the gut. This could indicate toilet problems, and it could also indicate some cramping there in the stomach area. So do pay attention to that. Make sure you're drinking lots of fluids, ideally mineral water if you can. Also notice that you'll be very magnetic this week, as there's going to be people coming towards you, and they'll be intrigued by you, and they'll be wanting to know more about who you are and what you do. They'll be asking lots of questions. So rather than being intimidated by this, see this as a direct result of all the effort that you've put into yourself with the inner work, with learning, with expanding, with acceptance of who you are. Notice that it's coming back to you now with the interest from people. Also, on a romantic level there, do watch out for substantial changes occurring. Now, this doesn't matter whether you're single, whether you're married or in a relationship. There will be a significant change where romance and matters of the heart are concerned. And what I mean by that is there's going to be people actually seeing your worth, like we said earlier, seeing your worth, appreciating you, and actually not being afraid to show that admiration towards you. And people are going to be just more caring, more loving towards you, rather than just taking you for granted, so to speak. This week will also see you getting some ideas to help you and your family with the financial situation. And also it will see you at least putting plans together for going on your travels, going on adventures, maybe a small breakaway, a mini holiday. This week we'll see you getting excited by doing your research and making some substantial plans there. And finally, on finances, there will be a subtle improvement, and just have this expectation in your mind, in your heart, that of course everything's working out for you. Of course money is magnetically drawn to you. Of course abundance is magnetically drawn to you. And so it shall be. Hold that vision in your heart and that belief in your mind, and you'll see a substantial amount of change within your financial situation this week. So let's turn over the card, see what the card has to say. And the card at the top says 7 of water. So I'd like to give you the angel number of number 7 to research, as there will be additional content and information within that. Also, the number 7 represents 2 things for me. One of them, that you need to clear the wheat from the chaff, let things go that no longer serve you. And by doing that, it will create that space for abundance, prosperity, and luck to enter your life there. Water's telling you to go with the flow, stop resisting these changes. It's also telling you to be aware of your emotions and stop stifling them and hiding them away. Let them play out, let them be center stage, and then this will enable you to go with the flow more so now than ever there. I'm also being told lucrative, that word. So I'm going to read the inscription at the bottom, and it reads choices, overanalyzing, procrastination. Now the choices, my vision is focused on the word choices. To me, this is everything that you've been working hard on, is coming towards you. And you're going to be bombarded with choices, which direction to take, because all of that abundance is coming back to you. So choose wisely, choose from the heart, and trust that stirring of the heart, and trust that inspiration from the heart to help govern you through these choices that you're going to make there. Procrastination is you fighting and resisting these changes. And rather than following your heart, there will be this element in your mind where you're thinking, well, I've done that before. It hasn't worked out before. Dare I try it again? Get out of that way of thinking, because you're only standing in your own way. Trust the wisdom of your heart this week. Looking into the artwork of the card, first of all, we've got like a greeny blue, a teal green sort of blue around the edge. To me, that's telling you not to dilute who you are as a person in order to fit in and to be liked as an individual. It's telling you to stand proud and to be your true authentic self in any one given moment. Even if you stand in the minority of one, at least you're being genuine, at least you're being authentic, and that in itself is admirable, and people respect and appreciate people that behave in that manner. So this in turn will magnetize people towards you because of your values there as well. It's also telling you to watch your emotions and communicate them openly. Stop hiding them away now. And also looking into the artwork, it's saying that there is a new door opening for you. But however, you've got to look at new ways in order to flourish and grow in your life. Like we said earlier, rather than saying, I've done that before and it didn't work, the timing wasn't right. The idea, the inspiration was right, but the timing wasn't right. So don't give up. Doors are opening for you. Also, we've got 242424. 24 hours is what I'm getting with that. This is telling you not to cram too much in your day-to-day life. You need time for yourself, for reflection, for balance. Otherwise, you're more likely to face burnout there. There's lots of cups in here. So there's 7, as you can appreciate, 7 of water. So again, I've told you to look at the angel number of number 7 there. And windows of opportunity is what I'm getting. But you need to reframe your life. So no matter what happened previously, you need to reframe that. Because once you start to reframe a situation, then these windows of opportunity will open up for you. And it's almost as if all your ducks will be in a row, and that abundance will be following you rather than you chasing that abundance there. Also, this card is symbolizing that you have the power to change your life. You just got to move out of the way, go with the flow. And they're telling me to tell you to keep your communications on a short lead. So don't tell people what you're going to be doing. Don't advertise the fact, because this will dilute your manifestations as well. So that's what I've got for this week's energy forecast reading. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed this reading, you would like to help and support the work that I do, I have got a buy me a coffee link either above or below this video, and this is a virtual tip jar, so all of your generous donations will be gratefully received. And if you would like to book in with me with any of my services, you can book in directly with there's a link above this video. There's also links in my bio, and you can go over to my website, www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com. Join me every Monday with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal and self-help, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on all of my social media there as well. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Take care. God bless. Bye for now.
Well, it sounds like we're all set for a very interesting week this week, doesn't it? And it's nice to know that we're entering the month of March and we have all this positivity, all this positive change that is entering our timeline. Thank you for listening to this week's show. I do hope you've enjoyed the channeled, inspirational information from Spirit. If you do have any questions for the show, you can contact me at www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glennboddice@live.co.uk, and it would be fascinating to hear from you. Anyway, you can join me next week at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on all of my social media platforms and my website with this very show, From Beyond with Glenn Boddice. Take care, everybody. God bless.
Thank you for listening to From Beyond.
For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to glennboddice spiritualmedium.com.